This video is going to be a little different from our normal content. Last week, my brother Chris and I introduced a brand new 3-part training on how to get consistent clients to an audience of 850 agents. We truly believe that real estate is the best business on earth. There is no other industry that doesn't require a 4-year degree or massive startup costs that also has the financial upside of real estate. But getting consistent clients is hard, and they don't teach you that in real estate school. So we want to help agents by sharing what we learned. In this session, part 2 of the series, we help agents start generating dozens of new leads from a marketing tool they already have and use, the good old yard sign. Yes, you heard that right. We generate 30 plus leads every time we stick a sign in the yard. And if you don't, you should stick around and check this session out. Enjoy.
Welcome, welcome. Without further ado, let me just introduce myself. My name is Chris Jones, founder and CEO of Guerilla Realty. I am joined today by my brother, co-founder and head coach of Guerilla Realty.
Older and less handsome.
It's debatable, but definitely older. Less gray hair though, somehow. Guess you're less.
How long did it take my kids to understand that you weren't the oldest?
I think they just learned this year that I was the younger brother by like 4 years.
Teenagers, by the way, so that tells you something.
Yeah. So anyway, here we are, guys. This is day 2 of our special November training event. We do something like this once a year. This is really, we try to put out more free value and downloads and downloadable resources this week than most companies do all year. That's kind of our internal goal. And so this is day 2, webinar number 2, how to get consistent clients with a yard sign. And we're going to give you like the complete download system so that you can literally take a new yard sign design to your print shop today, and by tomorrow plant a new yard sign in any one of your listings. Or we're going to show you how to do this even if you don't have any current listings, which I'm super excited about. So if you've never attended one of our webinars before, let me give you the quick rundown. They've been featured, the webinars that is, on Inman, on The Close, even on CNN. And even more importantly, the ideas that we teach in these webinars are proudly utilized at companies like Remax and Keller Williams and Realty One and Epic. All these companies raise their hand and they say, hey, we followed the Guerilla Realty marketing techniques. We download their playbooks and we use them. And so that's just to establish our credibility very quickly. But that's why we're known for having the world's best webinars for realtors. And this one is going to be no exception. Our goal today is for this to be the best darn webinar that you go to all year. And the way we make that happen is we follow 3 really specific rules. So rule number 1 is we're going to keep it under an hour today. It's not going to take you long to absorb all this material. And rule number 2 is it's going to be easy for you to execute, right? It'll take you less than 2 hours. We don't teach ideas that take days or weeks or months to implement. You can do this today. And that means no excuses. That means go out, download the thing, go get your new yard sign and plant it in a yard today. And when you do, rule number 3 is we guarantee results in under 24 hours. So Levi and I have already taught this to a private screening of a small group of agents, and the results have been nothing short of phenomenal. Anybody who's bothered to actually go out and execute what we're about to teach you has gotten results in under 24 hours. And that's why we have no problem making that guarantee. And so the result you can expect from this webinar is a new yard sign lead, which we all know these are the best leads. Somebody who calls a yard sign or contacts you from a yard sign, these are leads of people that are out looking for homes, so you know they're serious. It's warm and inbound. They called you, right? And these are the best leads, and they cost you nothing, right? These leads cost you absolutely nothing. You can generate a bunch of them and it won't cost you an extra dime. So that's the result that we guarantee. By this time tomorrow, you will have a new yard sign lead guaranteed. And then as a bonus, we're going to give you a ton of free downloads. So everything that you need to go out and execute this today, everything you need to take to your local print shop and have something amazing printed up that's actually going to generate you leads, we're going to give it to you as a free download. All right. But if you want the results, you've got to follow rule number 2. All the responsibility is on you here. You've got to go out and execute it. All right. So here's a roadmap of where we're going today. We're going to break today's webinar into 3 relatively simple lessons. So lesson number 1 is I'm going to show you, or we're going to show you, I should say, how to fix your infrastructure marketing in 30 minutes. So if you guys attended yesterday, quick show of hands, how many of you guys attended the webinar yesterday? Go to the chat. I'd love to know if you attended yesterday, and I'd also love to know, like, quick review, who got something great out of yesterday's webinar, who already started implementing. Just curious. All right. So lesson number 1 is I'm going to show you how to fix your infrastructure marketing in 30 minutes. So yesterday I showed you how to fix your overall marketing, engine. Today I'm going to get really specific and show you how to fix your infrastructure marketing. Lesson number 2 is then we're just going to walk you through step by step how to create what we call a Guerilla Yard Sign. And we're going to give you the download so that you can do this very, very, very easily. And then lesson number 3, which will be the most important lesson today, is I want to show you how to take this one simple concept, the Guerilla Yard Sign, and turn it into an evergreen system that brings you clients on autopilot all year round so you guys can finally exit the feast and famine cycle forever. All right, so there's a roadmap of where we're going. Here are the tools you're going to need if you want to pull this off today. All right, so tools required are, number 1, you need our marketing evaluator calculator download. This is a brilliant calculator that was designed by my brother here, and we use this in our business every single day, right? There is no marketing idea that we do not plug into this calculator in order to figure out if it's going to work before we spend any time or effort on it. All right. And so we're going to use that today, and I'll show you how to download it. And then you're going to need our yard sign template, right? And actually, some of you guys are going to have even better than the yard sign template. You're going to have some new software that we've been working on for a little while that will make the yard sign for you. And so I'll show you how to use that. But these are going to be free. And then I'm also going to strongly recommend that you get Pro Tools. This is our company's flagship product. We like to say it makes everything that I'm about to teach you today 1,000 times easier, 1,000 times more effective. Your results are going to be better. And we also guarantee the results. So this is our complete marketing engine software. Turn the key, start getting clients, after clients consistently. But you can do everything we're going to teach you with or without Pro Tools. So I want to be really clear about this. You can do everything that you see me do today. You can do it for free. The results are just going to be a lot better if you have Pro Tools. So for that reason, we will do a little pitch at the end where we take you behind the scenes. Everybody always loves this part of the webinar because there's a cool giveaway attached to it. But that brings us to the last little bit of housekeeping, which is the yard sign cheat sheet. So accompanying today's webinars, we put together an incredible document. It's a cheat sheet with a complete outline of everything I'm going to teach you, links to every resource and tool, everything that you need to get started. And we're going to let you download it at the end of the webinar. All right. So that means you don't have to chase down all these resources while I'm teaching. Instead, just wait till the end. Somebody asked, is Pro Tools GHL, which means go high level? And the answer is no. Everything, all the software that we build is 100% proprietary. We have our own development and team of engineers that builds everything from scratch. And there we go. Samantha says, sorry, I'm late. Everybody point and laugh at Samantha. She's joining the classroom late. She's got a little string of toilet paper dangling from her shoe as she walks across the classroom. Just kidding, Samantha. Welcome. All right, guys, let's get started. Lesson number 1, how to fix your infrastructure marketing in under 30 minutes. Some of you guys might be thinking, what the heck is infrastructure marketing? So let me introduce you to the concept of the marketing pyramid. If you were here yesterday, you can tune in with me. So the marketing pyramid should look like this. Every thriving real estate business, your marketing should look like this. Most of yours don't. Okay. So it should look like a foundation of strong direct response marketing that actually works. I showed you an example of that yesterday. That's what yesterday's webinar was all about. And this would include things like ads, socials, cold calling, direct mail. We ran a bunch of those ideas through our marketing evaluator. We realized that Most of them don't work, but we do have about a dozen playbooks inside of Pro Tools. Direct response is any kind of activity that you do that requires a response that results in a lead. So ads, socials, cold calling, direct mail. We ran a bunch of those ideas through our marketing evaluator tool yesterday, and most of them came up short, right? But we did show you a couple of direct response, or we showed you one playbook yesterday, but we have a dozen or so inside of Pro Tools that will ROI every time. So that's direct response. That should be your strong foundation. On top of that, you want to build on some infrastructure. And infrastructure marketing is any kind of physical or digital infrastructure out in the world that quietly points people back towards your real estate business. All right. And this would include things like park benches, which don't ROI, by the way. It would include yard signs, which is what we're going to talk about today. It would include business cards, and digital infrastructure includes Google, Bing, Yahoo, Yelp, Facebook profile, and the like. And then the marketing pyramid should be sphere of influence, which includes friends, family, and referrals, right? But this should be the cherry on top, right? And this is what your marketing pyramid should look like, right? This is just conceptually what it should look like. Here's what most realtors do, though, and this includes you guys. And literally, Levi and I, we've taught tens of thousands of realtors over the past decade, and 95% of agents do what we call upside down marketing. So anytime we do a one-on-one call with someone, we just ask them some basic questions, and what we figure out is they're doing their marketing upside down. And maybe it's because this is what they teach in real estate school, Levi. You think that's what the issue is? I don't know, but it's like every time I do a one-on-one, this is what the realtor is doing. Levi, you're muted. We're just chock full of technical difficulties today.
I was going to say it's also the automatic part. Lots of people get into the business because they want to do their own deal, or they know a friend or family is about to sell their house.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. So this is what upside down marketing looks like. And this is what, again, I'm not here to step on toes, not purposefully, but I probably will. This is what your marketing looks like, is you start by attacking your natural market or your sphere of influence. And the problem is that sphere of influence is only ever going to bring you about 2 to 3 closings a year on average, right? Yesterday, I went through the numbers. I don't have time to do that today, but I proved it with math. And you're welcome to download that calculator. We'll link you to it in the cheat sheet. But 2 to 3 closings on average. So those of you who've done like 7 deals this year from your sphere of influence, guess what? Next year, you're doing 0, right? It's just the law of averages, right? Then when they finally tap out their sphere of influence marketing, they might dabble in a little bit of infrastructure marketing. They might set up a Google My Business profile or a Yelp profile or Facebook Marketplace or Facebook Business is what I mean. And this, when done right, can bring an additional 3 to 6 closings. And then most realtors never even bother doing direct response marketing. Although, as we discussed yesterday, when you do direct response marketing, it's usually the stuff that doesn't actually ROI. So it's things like list chasing, FSBOs, expireds, direct mail, cold calling, that kind of thing, where you're chasing a list that you're, that's bought off the internet, or it's social chasing. So you're doing unlimited social posts, or you're doing like Facebook ads or something like that. And that stuff doesn't ROI. So most of you guys either aren't doing direct response at all, or you're doing the 1 or 2 direct response ideas that don't actually ROI. And that's why you're stuck at around 7 closings per year, which incidentally is the average number of closings that a full-time realtor is doing in North America. Right. And so if you're stuck in this plateau, and maybe you're not stuck at 7, maybe you're stuck at 20, or maybe you're stuck at 30. But what every realtor is going to discover is that they're going to be stuck at this plateau as long as they're relying on sphere of influence and infrastructure. Maybe that's what their team's relying on. And if you want to bust through that plateau and you want to start generating unlimited number of leads and hit whatever your goal is, then stop doing this. Okay, stop doing upside down marketing and instead do this, right? So direct response, which can bring literally unlimited number of deals, but like minimum 30 plus closings is what we taught you how to do yesterday. And then you can do infrastructure, which is 3 to 6 closings when done well. All right. And this is really kind of like a minimum. When done really well, you could do even better than that. And that'll be, a good marketing pyramid will bring you to about 40 closings a year. All right. And what's so cool about infrastructure marketing, which is what we're going to focus on today, is that it's passive. So what's cool about passive is not that it doesn't take any work, but it's a one-time setup. And then once you set it up, it's very, very little effort and very, very little cost involved in keeping it going. All right. And this is what we're going to focus on today. So I'm going to show you how to fix your infrastructure marketing and get those 3 to 6 closings, right? Which is, it's around $35,000 to $70,000 in gross commissions from infrastructure marketing. But how many of you guys are actually getting $70,000 in gross commissions every year? Quick, this is not rhetorical. Okay. What percentage, which of you guys are actually getting $70,000 in gross commissions from your infrastructure marketing, from your yard signs, or from your Google My Business profile? Most of you guys are not. And the key to getting that kind of response from your infrastructure marketing is kind of like taking your infrastructure, and the more you can make your infrastructure marketing look like direct response marketing, the better it's going to be. Right. And so that's just a key concept I want you guys to hold on to for now. And now we're going to talk specifically about infrastructure marketing, and specifically today, we're going to tackle yard signs. So here's the cool thing about yard signs. Yard sign leads are the best leads. Levi and I actually, we've been working on this for a little while, but we actually had a conversation yesterday talking about why yard sign leads are without a doubt the best type of lead. Number one, there's zero cash and time invested in getting a yard sign lead. I mean, think about it. Once you go and put the sign in the yard, which a lot of you guys actually have an assistant going and doing that for you. If you're with Epic, heck, they go and install the sign for you. All right. And so it costs you nothing, because, assuming that the sign's already paid for, right? And or it's a one-time small, marginal or nominal fee to set it up. And then it costs you no time, right? So it literally just sits out there passively and quietly pointing people back to your business, right? So zero cash time invested. And they call you. Can we all agree that it's better to get warm inbound leads where someone's contacted you than it is just a cold call list? All right. I think so. So they called you, they're warm and inbound. And because they're out looking for homes, this is a little bit of selection bias in our lead, our lead population. We know that they're serious. Right? Very, very few people spend gas, especially at gas prices, where they are today. Very few people are going to spend time driving around town and just responding to yard signs for no particular reason. There's very, very high buyer intent. And so because of that, Levi and I did some basic statistical modeling, and we realized that yard sign leads convert 25% better than other lead sources, even including internet leads, which convert awesome. I showed you guys how well they convert yesterday, right? You can run a marketplace, marketplace ad and generate really high quality leads. Yard sign leads convert even better. All right. But here's the problem with the standard yard sign setup. The standard yard sign setup is very low volume. So it's always restricted. The number of yard signs is equal to the number of listings that you take. Right. And when you guys aren't taking a lot of listings, if it's been a tough year for you, you don't have a lot of yard signs out there. So it's very low volume. It's also ugly. So most of you guys are using the standard yard sign that is provided to you by your brokerage. And even the best brokerage out there with the best designers on staff, I got to tell you, your signs are ugly. They're cheap. They use bad colors. They're very difficult to read. I'm going to show you some real life examples today. And there's no call to action, which is really criminal. All right. Imagine having all this infrastructure all over the city and not a single call to action that actually drives people back to become a lead. All right. So this is even worse than the fact that they're ugly. And the standard yard sign today gets about 0 leads per listing. That's it. About the only lead, Levi, do you agree with this? I feel like the only lead that anyone ever gets from a yard sign is when somebody, maybe there's a buyer out there who's already represented, by the way, can't get a hold of their buyer's agent and they want to know what the house is listed for.
Or the nosy neighbor.
Yeah, or the nosy neighbor. Neither one of those are really leads. All right. So the average or the standard yard sign setup gets 0 leads per listing. And I'm going to give you an example of this on the next slide. And this is extremely timely. I took this picture on my iPhone this week. So Levi, Hannah and I were walking in our neighborhood just the other day, and we happened to be talking about this presentation. So we were putting the finishing touches on this yard sign, this Guerilla Yard Sign presentation. and we walked by this house, and it had literally like the prototypical yard sign setup, the standard yard setup in the yard. Okay. So I'm going to go through and talk about all the things that's wrong with it. But what do you guys think of this yard sign setup? Just curious, right? Does this look pretty typical for you? I'm not going to call out the company or the agent.
Very interesting choice to use a local company.
Well, the good news is no one's being outed here because you can't friggin' see the sign.
It's true.
Right? So you don't have to worry about anybody being embarrassed here. And by the way, if any of you guys are local to the Fayetteville market, don't out whoever this agent is. I'm not picking on them because here's the thing. This is what everybody does. This is what all of you guys, this is what your yard sign setup looks like. And by the way, it's what me and Levi's yard sign looked like until about 2 years ago. And we just realized what a missed opportunity. I guess it was about 3 years ago. What a missed opportunity. We have all this infrastructure out there pointing back to our business, and it never generates a single friggin' lead. All right. And so here's what's wrong with this. Okay. So first of all, let me turn my laser pointer on. First of all, anybody notice you can't see the sign? It's obstructed by the mailbox and the little, welcome to spring, happy Easter flag deal. Okay. It does have a phone number on it, but it's a local phone number. Who's going to call the real, no drive-by traffic actually wants to talk to the listing agent. Okay. And you can't see it because it's tiny and it uses ugly colors. And by the way, I like blue. I like navy blue, but it's ugly because it doesn't actually attract any attention to it, right? You'd be better off using an actually ugly color like lime green that gets people's attention, or like, electric red or something like that. All right. So this yard sign is the typical setup, and it gets no leads because hardly anybody can see it. And this is what the cars driving by, this is what they see. They see the mailboxes. All right. So real quick, Levi, let's go through the standard, and we're just going to kind of spitball here. Actually, if somebody wants to volunteer, maybe we'll just use you as a volunteer, but we're going to go through the marketing evaluator calculator. And let me share my tab. Levi, if you could confirm that we can see my screen now. I'm just going to exit the slide presentation real quick.
Yep, we can see it.
All right. So this yard sign setup that I just gave, good news is, so here's what we do, guys. We built this calculator. Levi actually built it from scratch. It's essential to our business. It's absolutely critical. We run every marketing idea through it, and it's almost like 100% predictive whether the marketing idea is going to be successful or not. All right. So we're going to do that with this yard sign. So the good news is that yard sign that I just showed you a picture of, it didn't cost much. Okay. I'm going to say it's $50. It might be a little less or a little more. I don't know. Okay. The other thing is because it was provided for by the company, it cost me like next to no time. It probably took me 10 minutes to go out there and, drop the sign off, but we're just going to say zero. Okay. The problem is that you got zero leads. Now I know for a fact that this thing got zero leads, but even if I was, even if I was being generous and I said it generated one lead, okay. The problem is it still doesn't ROI. All right. There we go.
You should be really generous and say it generates like 3. Because I've heard of some agents occasionally getting like 2 or 3 leads on their listings. Most don't, of course. But even if you put 3, it still doesn't work.
Right. Well, I think it probably would in this case. But the problem is that if you had just used a yard sign that works, then you would have generated probably, like, what did we generate on our last listing? 51 leads. The one before that, 39 leads. Okay. So that's the key here. So we just ran it through the marketing evaluator, and that's how you know that this thing doesn't work. Okay. So it's way over the budget per lead. And that means that we've got to get rid of it. All right. So now that we've done that, let's talk about what's the alternative. All right. So we're not going to do that. Can we all agree that we're not going to do the standard yard sign? Can I ask for a little commitment from everybody? Can we all agree that we're not going to do the standard yard sign that we just saw on the last slide, that we're going to forsake that forever? All right. Here's what we're going to do instead. It's what we call Guerilla Yard Signs, right? And Guerilla Yard Signs have unlimited volume because you can actually partner with FSBOs. All right. So you do not need to have your own listing in order to try this idea out today. We're going to walk you through all the steps. It's super high quality. It still only costs around $135, sometimes a little more depending on your choices. But you can get this whole thing done for as little as $135 starting from scratch today. Okay. It actually is going to get noticed because of the design and the size and the colors, etc. And our last listing got 51 leads, which represents 3 closings. And here's the really cool thing, Levi. I don't know if you realize this about our last listing that we planted this yard sign on. But that was 2 buyers and 1 listing is what that 51 leads represented. We just like broke down all the numbers. Okay. Here's what's cool about that, right? Do you realize that this is almost like, this is as close to you can get to a perpetual motion machine here in real estate in terms of like marketing? Because if you take that 1 listing that you got and plant another Guerilla Yard sign in the yard, okay, it's going to generate enough leads to potentially get another listing. And it's just going to keep, and by the way, you're also spinning off buyers the whole time, right? And so this Guerilla Yard sign, okay, has the potential. It's not going to work out like that every single time, but sometimes you're going to get more than 51 leads. And it has the, depending on how high volume or highly trafficked the area is, okay? But it has the potential to drive your business forward in a way that no other infrastructure marketing out there can. All right. So that's what we're going to do today. And that brings us to lesson number 2, 50 plus leads from Guerilla Yard Signs. All right. And here's the playbook. What I'm going to do is so first of all, the playbook, this is what I'm teaching through is the actual internal playbook that our team uses and that's shared inside of our Pro Tools system. Obviously Pro Tools costs money, right? You have to pay for it. But when you pay for it, you get our entire playbook arsenal, which is 31 playbooks at this point. One of them is the Guerilla Yard Sign playbook. And I'm going to break it down in broad strokes. So I'm going to kind of teach you through the whole method so you guys get the concept of it. But I'm going to give you an opportunity to download the real deal playbook. It's like worth over $1,200. I'm going to let you guys download it for free just for attending the webinar today. Okay. All right. So to break down the playbook in broad strokes, step 1 is we're going to identify a listing. So hopefully you guys have got your own listing inventory, but if not, we're going to show you what to do. Step 2 is then you're going to activate a text capture code, and we'll show you what that means and how to do it. And then step 3 is then you're going to create a Guerilla Yard sign. Now I'm going to make this as easy as humanly possible for you. But I will warn you in advance. If you do the DIY version, we're going to give you the template and you're going to have to go through and figure out how to edit the design files and all that. It will take Levi, how long do you think it'll take the average person to mess around with the template and I mean, be conservative?
I mean, 5-10 minutes, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Assuming that you know how to use Figma and all that, about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes max. It'll take a little bit of time for you to go through and build it all yourself. If you have Pro Tools and you get a beta copy of our latest software feature that we added to Pro Tools, you can click a button. And Levi, you did this right before we got on the webinar today. How long did it take you to create that?
Oh, it was instant.
It was instant, and it was automatically connected to your whole Pro Tool system so that when you capture a lead, it's going to go into all of the CRMs that you're connected to, right? So that's step 3. And then step 4 is place the sign. And believe it or not, I've got some specifics on how to place the sign because I don't want you to end up like the guy who
not behind 2 mailboxes. That's not part of it.
Probably not the best thing. And it's crazy because we're so digitized today that nobody actually thinks about the analog of like where to place a yard sign. But on these last 2 listings where we generated 51 and 39 leads respectively, we were actually extremely thoughtful about where to place the friggin' sign, right? We wanted to, anyway, we'll get into that in step number 4. Okay. So without further ado, and remember, we're going to let you download the full playbook at the end. So just stick around. Okay, let's dive into step 1. So step 1 is identify a listing. So you can either use your own listing if you have one. And by the way, anybody have current listing? Raise your hands. Okay. In fact, don't just say whether you have a listing, say how many active listings that are actually single family residential or condos. I don't want any land listings, but go to the chat and how many active listings do you have? 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever it is, go there. I want to encourage you guys. In fact, I want to challenge you guys to go make one of these, or not make one of these signs, but go make however many listings you have. I want you to go and make that many signs and plug all this in today. It's going to change the end of your year. Okay. There's no way that you're not going to end up doing more deals by the end of the year if you're just willing to go out and plant these yard signs. All right. So you can use your own listing, and I want you guys who have listings to go do it. Or if you don't have any listings, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Download the list from FSBonanza. So FSBonanza is a free app that we built where you can go plug in your local market area. It'll create a list of all of the for sale by owners in your whatever area you want to cover. All right. And you can download the list of FSBOs and you can go partner with the FSBO. So when you're looking at FSBO listings, great opportunities for planting the sign and making it easy. Not everybody's going to agree to plant the sign in the yard, but if the yard sign looks good, a lot of people are going to say yes, right? So we recommend targeting investors, so like the tired landlord, absentee owner type listings where they're just ready but they don't really want to connect directly with the buyers. They want a realtor to sell the house. So investors are a great opportunity. Any FSBO listing that has very high days on market, so somebody that's beginning to get very frustrated, you can just gift them the sign and say, hey, this will help me connect with more buyers so that I can get this home sold for you. High traffic neighborhoods. So when you're looking at FSBonanza, if you see a neighborhood that gets a lot of drive-by traffic, that would be a great place for you to go and plant one of your yard signs. You just have to call for permission. All right. We'll give you some scripting on that. But I mean, we're talking really, really simple. And you have to be willing to accept a couple of no's. So you're going to call up the FSBO and if me and Levi are doing it, we call them and say, hey, we wanted to let you know, we noticed that, you're an investor trying to unload the property, and we'd really like to find some buyers for your property. So 1, can we advertise it on social? And number 2, would you care if I planted an additional yard sign right there in the yard that would help me connect with some buyers who are driving by so I could bring you a buyer? Nobody's going to object to that, especially not an investor. Okay. High days on market. Hey, I couldn't help but notice our average days on market in Fayetteville is only 60 days. And your listing's been live for like 7 months, right? It might help me connect with some buyers if I could place this really, really good strategic yard sign in your yard. Would you have any objection to that? We could just try it out for a couple of weeks. And if you didn't like it, I could take it down. Would that be okay with you? All right. So we're talking like really simple. Some people are going to say, no, thanks. Some people are going to say yes. And you can go try this idea out today. All right. Step 2 is then you have to activate some text capture. So text capture is like where you create a simple code that when you text it to a non-local number is really important. We always get higher conversion when the number's non-local. We don't want people driving by and texting the code to think that they're about to connect with a realtor. Because remember, right, don't get your feelings hurt, but realtor is not the most popular profession in North America. Far from. In fact, I think it's, Levi, what did we find out? Is it the top 3 most hated professions in North America?
Yeah, it's up there with used car salesmen.
Yeah, used car salesmen, lawyers, realtors. That's the list, I think. Anyway, you guys can fact check us. But non-local number, and then it needs to be able to auto reply with the property details. Our Pro Tools system does all of this, okay? And captures phone numbers that can send out automatic lead notifications so you know when it happens, and automatic insertion to your CRM, which Pro Tools handles all of that. You guys know Pro Tools connects to any CRM on earth, and so it can plug all of the leads that it captures into whatever CRM you're currently using. Or if you're not currently using a CRM, we can get you like 5 months free with Realty Juggler, or you can use our simple free CRM called Hatcher. All right, so that's step 2. Step 3 is building the Guerilla Yard Sign. All right, so number 1, you got to make it big, right? Go big or go home. We're talking about a 24 by 36 inch high sign hanging from a 6-foot post, right? And the reason why is just like your website, if nobody sees it, it will never convert a lead. So the more people who see it, the more leads it will convert. This is all about traffic, and people need to be able to see the sign. So this is really, really, really important. Okay. Then you want to use a standout design and colors. So honestly, Some of you guys are not going to like this, but don't use your company colors, right? You can see that this is a yard sign that me and Levi put together. We're currently with EXP, and I don't see a single EXP color on there. Is anybody offended by that? Okay, now some of you guys are going to go to the comments and you're going to say, oh, but Keller Williams requires that it be the Keller Williams red. Okay, if Keller Williams actually does do that, which I don't believe, I'm using them as an example. Levi, maybe you know better on this. If Keller Williams actually does mandate that you use their stupid, ugly red color, okay, leave them, right? Or if it's Coldwell Banker, Century 20, whatever it is, if your broker gives you a hard time about putting together a sign that actually looks good, leave them. Christy says Keller Williams does not. Good. Okay, let's stipulate that Keller Williams is a great company to work for who doesn't care what kind of yard sign you use. All right, they were just the first company that popped into my head. All right. Jeffrey says we actually have the best yard sign on the planet. Rongo, the yard sign that you're looking at right now, Jeffrey, is the best yard sign on the planet, and I'll test it side by side with whatever sign you want. All right. So standout design and colors. It needs to have social and authority proof that makes you look like a rock star, makes people trust you. And then it needs to have a really, really simple description of the property and a clear call to action and effective lead capture. So I'm going to just break this all down on the following slide. So here is our standard yard sign design. Now, some of you guys are going to be like, I don't know, Chris, this is kind of ugly. All right. We've tested a lot of yard sign designs and this one really works. So for now, this is where we're going to go with, but we're always up for A/B testing stuff. And so our goal is to add different color schemes, throughout the year. So this is the one that we're sharing with you guys right now. We will add more color schemes, but I want you to get over the fact that you have to use your company colors because you don't. All right. Instead, here's what I want you to do. Right. So this is a very large sign. The template that we're going to share with you is 24 inches by 36 inches. You can get this done at any local print shop that's worth their weight. All right. So it's going to be very large. We're going to use the standout colors. So these colors were actually deeply researched to find what are the most popular colors that cross all generational lines, right? So boomers, millennials, Gen Z, what colors are actually going to grab their attention? And so there was a lot of research that was put into this particular design. Then social and authority proof. Social proof at the top, authority proof at the bottom, right? These are very, very, very subtle, but they make you more trustworthy and ultimately help you capture more leads, right? Then you've got the simple description. You've got a clear call to action for pricing, photos, and video tour. Lead capture, text this code to this phone number. And you'll notice we're using a non-local phone number. All right. This is the yard sign breakdown, right? This is why it works. And it was all designed this way on purpose. And it had to have all of these different features, or we never would have gotten to 51 leads or 39 leads, or we wouldn't be generating dozens of leads every time we put one of these in the yard. All right. And I promise you guys, if you guys are willing to go out and test this, you guys who have active listings, or you guys who are willing to go partner with a FSBO, if you go plant this in a yard where people drive by, you're going to start generating leads within 24 hours. All right. Now let's talk about FSBOs. So we have created a very simple FSBO magnet add-on. So this is and we're going to talk materials in just a moment, but we use a coated or a two-sided metal sign that they put a vinyl print on. Okay. And because it's metal, you can slap a magnet on it really easy. And so if you want to turn this into a FSBO sign, literally all you have to do is cover up all the MLS and EXP and National Association of Realtor stuff with an 8x20 magnet add-on. So this is really easy. And we're going to give you the design file for this as well. And you just have a couple of these lying around and boom, slap this on a metal sign. And your standard for sale sign is now ready to go for a for sale by owner, right? And what's cool is once you have one of these metal signs, you don't have to throw them away after this listing is sold. You can just take it back to the local print shop and they'll recode it for you. Levi and I have been doing this for a while. All right. So as far as ordering the FSBO magnet add-on, I think the easiest way to do it is to go to like signs.com. I priced it this morning, and you can order a custom car magnet where you can do 20 inches by 8 inches high, right? So custom, and it's $33. And so you can grab a couple of these depending on how many FSBOs you're going to go and partner with. I mean, nothing's stopping you guys from going out and doing 10 FSBO, listings and planting the sign all over the place. The number of leads you guys would be generating would be unreal. Okay. But that's how easy it is. Anybody excited about like actually going out and trying this stuff today? All right. One more little thing, and I'm going to make this quick, is we always advertise the buyer's agent commission in the sign writer. So you guys know we're for paying out a 4% buyer's agent commission because we know that buyer's agents drive demand, and you'll sell a house faster and for more money, and you'll get more demand if you bribe the buyer's agent. So we always recommend to our sellers that they pay the buyer's agent commission. We also recommend that they install an extra 1% bribe. And then we just advertise it. We advertise it all over the place, but we advertise it on the sign writer. And so we're going to give you the design file for this as well. Get your local print shop to print it out, and you can just slap it on top of the sign. The signpost that we recommend in our setup guide that you can buy from Amazon, we're going to show you exactly where to get all that stuff. They have like a sign writer connect, like, I don't know what you call it, like an adapter where you can put the sign writer on. It's pretty easy, right, Levi? All right, cool. All right, beautiful. So step 4 is now place the sign. And my first piece of advice is don't put it behind 2 mailboxes. All right. So absolute minimum setback. So I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be one. This isn't legal advice. I'm not going to I don't want to get anyone in trouble. Okay. But generally there's a minimum setback in every neighborhood, right? Where you can't literally put the sign like right on the street, like hanging into the street. Right? It probably piss people off too. So don't do that. Instead, follow whatever the absolute minimum setback is. So if you're in like one of those super fancy hoity-toity neighborhoods, it's like minimum 8-foot setback. Okay, do 8 feet. Don't do 10 feet, do 8 feet. You want it to be as close to the road as possible so that drive-by traffic can easily see and read the sign. Typically, this is just my experience, typically like the minimum setback is about 3 feet. So put it friggin' 3 feet from the street. Don't go back any further. You guys I love an active chat, but you guys are having like full-on conversations. I don't even know that you're listening. All right.
Yeah, I think they're so busy typing, and I this isn't a slam on anybody, of course, but they're so busy typing questions, they're actually missing you answering most of the questions that they're asking. So
all right, guys,
hold that tight.
We're going to do a live Q&A at the end of the webinar, but for now, just sit tight. I want you guys to get all this, okay? So you got to make sure there's no obstructions. So fences, bushes, hedges, whatever the case is, okay? I would literally pay for a yard guy to come out and to trim back hedges to make sure that my yard sign can be seen. Okay. You literally need to do a drive by the house from both directions. Okay. It needs to be visible from the car from both directions before you settle on the design. Okay. So your swing arm, by the way, should be pointed out towards the street. I think that probably is like self-explanatory, but just to make sure that nobody does this wrong, you want the sign to be oriented out towards the street. Now, real quick, once you start generating leads, okay, if you're using professional marketing tools, I want you to know, because some of you guys are thinking, okay, should I do this with KV Core or KW Command, or should I do this with Pro Tools? Okay, it's not an either or decision. Okay, so just like I told you guys yesterday, the easiest way to upgrade to professional marketing tools versus your standard CRM platform. So most of you guys have one of these CRM platforms provided by your company: Bold Trail, KW Command, Brivity, Sync, Realty Juggler, and on and on and on. Okay. But you guys have one of these and you think, okay, I'll just try to use one of these, right? The easiest way to upgrade to professional marketing tools is to get Pro Tools and then just connect it to your CRM platform. All right. And remember, CRMs are great at lead follow-up, lead management, and lead conversion. They're terrible at marketing. Okay. They're terrible at getting leads. They're terrible at capturing leads. I love all of these companies, right? I've had conversations with many of the higher ups. I talked to one of the top dogs at Realty Juggler just the other day. Okay. Obviously, as EXP agents, we're big fans of Bold Trail. There's good stuff in all of these programs, and whichever CRM you're using, keep using it. But the easiest way to upgrade it and to make it a pro marketing software is just to add Pro Tools to it. Right. So we will connect Pro Tools to literally any CRM platform you see on the page and every other company platform that you don't see listed. We'll connect Pro Tools so that every time you capture a new yard sign lead, ding, it's going to flow directly into your CRM. All right. And that brings us to lesson number 3, how to create an evergreen system that gets clients on autopilot. So let me show you the formula that we use to make this evergreen. All right. I want to show you guys how to not just be one yard sign that you use one time to get a couple of yard sign leads, but I want this to be driving a huge amount of new business to you guys every single year from January all the way through December. And remember, as long as you're willing to go out and partner with FSBOs, there's never a time that there should never be a month in your business where you're not getting yard sign leads. Stephanie, yes, it will take KV Core CRM. The answer is it will take every CRM on earth, even if it's not real estate specific, even if we've never heard of it, we will connect Pro Tools so that all your leads flow into it automatically. It's super easy. All right, so here's the formula, guys. First of all, you've got to have a lead playbook. So we just broke down a really simple lead playbook for you. So a lead playbook is just a step-by-step formula that if you're willing to go through and execute the checklist style, plan, then it's going to produce leads for you. So I just showed you our Guerilla Yard Signs, right? And this is plug and play. We're going to give you a file download in a minute that you can take to your local print shop, and you can kind of work through all the details of it and go and implement it the same day. All right. So here's the stack of playbooks that we're giving you, that if you have this whole stack, you have a complete marketing engine and your business is ready to go. So yesterday we taught you the marketplace ads, and we gave you a free download of that playbook. Today we're teaching the Guerilla Yard Signs. We're going to give you a free download of this playbook. And tomorrow I'm going to teach you how to work your sphere of influence using a simple email and text message that you can send out twice a year to your friends and family. They'll never be mad. They'll always be glad, and it will generate a bunch of leads. And so here's how we're going to do it. So marketplace ads will generate about 80 leads per month. Guerilla Yard Signs will generate about 50 leads per listing. So depending on the length of the listing, it may generate more or less. And then the lead surfacing text will generate about 5 leads per year from your sphere of influence. But the cool thing about this, and the reason why it's got an asterisk, is that these are like pre-converted leads. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But we're going to give you a free download of the Guerilla Yard Sign here today. All right. So this is 135 legitimate leads that coming in from your marketing pyramid. And we're going to give you a download of the full playbook here at the end of the webinar. So stick around for just another minute. All right. Then you need to plug that lead playbook into a follow-up system. So ideally, your follow-up system should be a CRM that you actually use every single day. Okay. Your lead should automatically flow directly into that CRM. And then you should be doing human-to-human follow-up. Right. So ideally, this should be on a phone, talking human to human, or with text messages. All right. So step 1, step 2, and when you do these in the right order over and over and over again consistently, they're going to lead to you always being in escrow. So if that's the goal here, is you want to always have another deal in the works, you always want to have another escrow on the way, then this is the software for you. Okay. So this is our flagship product. It's called Pipeline Pro Tools. It is a complete marketing engine for realtors, which poses the question, of course, what in the heck is a marketing engine? And here's what it is. We work in the greatest business on earth, uncapped earning potential, amazing talent stack. Okay. And you're making people's dreams come true. But every one of us, this is the way that Levi puts it, every one of us is going to discover eventually that getting consistent clients is really freaking hard. Everybody already discovered that. Usually you discover about 5 minutes after getting your license. Sometimes it takes people a little longer. Getting consistent clients is probably the hardest thing you'll ever do as a realtor. And the problem is every realtor is completely abandoned. Anybody ever felt abandoned when it came to, doing marketing? To build their own marketing engine from scratch. All right. And so what me and Levi and our team have dedicated the last 10 years of our lives to is building a complete marketing engine. So it's a duplicatable system that you can drop into any agent's business, any market, anywhere in North America, and turn the key and instantly begin lining up client after client after client after client consistently. And here's what's included in broad strokes inside of Pro Tools. So first of all, you get a marketing plan. So we write you a custom marketing plan. Me, Levi, and the team of our coaches, we write you a custom marketing plan. obviously you get instant access to the marketing playbooks, all 31 of them, but we'll write you a marketing plan that we send to you, and you have to sign off on it. You have to look at it and be like, hey, I know that'll work. Sign off on it. And then you also get all the marketing software that you need, all the backend tools to execute the plan. So nothing is more frustrating than getting a plan, but figuring out you have to go buy all this stuff and sign up for all these subscriptions or download all these apps in order to make it work. All the software is included. And this is just like push button easy, like the yard sign. Okay. Pro Tools, and I'm going to show it to you in just a minute. You can now click a button and it'll instantly create a sign for you so that you don't have to learn how to work Figma and do all the editing and all that stuff. Okay. And then you get a marketing coach. So whether you're tech savvy or not, imagine having a licensed active agent certified to hold your hand and help you execute step by step. Right. That's what you get inside of Pro Tools. And for today, some of the features that I just want to call out inside of Pro Tools is you have a listing grabber. So whether it's your own listing that you want to import into Pro Tools so you can build yard signs for it, or if you want to go out and instantly grab FSBO listings, the listing grabber is you can type the address into Pro Tools. It'll go out and grab the listing and set it all up so that you have a single property website like yesterday, but also so that you have a yard sign created instantly, right? Then you have the Guerilla Yard Signs feature where you can create awesome lead capture signs for every single listing, both FSBOs and your own listings. And then you have SMS text capture built in. So you have SMS auto reply lead capture, but these will instantly integrate with all of your signs. So when you build a sign, it'll automatically create a new code and it's all done for you, right? So that's all handled by Pro Tools. And then of course, it's the whole system. So listing grabber, ad creator, lead website, SMS text capture, phone capture, Guerilla Yard Sign, smart CMA landing page, 31 playbooks, and that's just in counting, right? Because we're always developing new playbooks and we're adding it to the heap. And then unlimited one-to-one coaching and tech support, which is why I'm so proud of this. Okay. It's why we can offer, as far as I know, the only 100% risk-free guarantee in the industry with no fine print. Of course, we guarantee we'll connect to any CRM in the industry. All right. So as far as the risk-free guarantee goes, this is plainly worded. It's all over the website, but I'm going to break it down for you guys. We do this, and this is a promise we live and die by. If you join Pro Tools and you go out and you do your custom marketing plan that we write for you, if you don't make massive progress towards your number one goal in real estate, and you get to decide what that is and what that means, then not only can you cancel because there's no contracts here, but you can instantly request a full refund, and we will insist on processing it the same day. And, I'm looking at you guys directly dead in the eye. I'm looking in the camera. This is a promise we live and die by. It's something we take very seriously because we want to assume the risk here. We don't want to put it all on you.
Are you ready to go out and buy new yard signs now? I sure hope so. I'd like to ask you to do me a favor. Press like on this video, then share it with a friend who needs it, and then comment shared below. When you do, we'll help you get registered for our yard sign training where you'll get the full complete cheat sheet complete with templates, tools, everything you need to make the new effective yard signs. See you next time.